right, good afternoon, everyone. Being here, we'll start off with roll call. Here. Okay, so first thing we want to do today is athletics. Casey here to represent them. We really want to thank you for donation. And there's a list here of items that have been donated over the years. I'm not sure how long the relationship has existed between FM Athletics and Moorhead Parks, but we're very grateful for it, and we appreciate you being here today.
Thank you very much.
Maybe, Otto, you can talk about the years of that you've been working with us and a little background.
Oh, gee, it's probably been, what, 20 years?
Oh.
Then we started out at Centennial. We built that up, put in irrigation, added a couple fields, and Larry took care of us, so whatever we needed, he got us, and we'd help pay for it, so that way it wasn't all on the city or the park board helping us out, so we did all we could to help you guys too. So, but it's been 20 years, and then we finally moved out to, they finally let us move out to Southwest Park, or 100-acre park, is it?
Yeah.
And that's really been great out there. And we did get the parking fixed this year.
Yeah. Yes, I heard that. They have a jamboree out there every year, and the parking up at Centennial Athletic Complex, they were having to shut off softball early, and at the end of the year, they have a lot of state softball tournaments and so forth. But football was starting, and the jamboree was just overwhelming that complex. And soccer was only using us 2 Saturdays a year in the fall, and so we asked FM Athletics, and FM Athletics was amicable to move down to the Southside Regional Park, where we have, is it 6 or 8 fields, football fields set up?
Actually, all 9 of them are, but the one is...
All 9 fields. And how many people do you think were at the jamboree?
Normally, the jamboree will have anywhere between 3,000 and 5,000 people during the day.
So a lot of activity in Moorhead, and it is jam-packed out there. The first year we did it out there, we thought the extra parking would be enough, but it wasn't, and we experienced significant elderly people walking blocks and blocks from the neighborhood to come out. And this year they had parking attendants, and I got 2 calls the next day saying it was awesome, that these guys did a great job of fixing that problem, and I'm sure they were still parked in the neighborhoods, but it was way better.
Actually, it was pretty good. They're only parked on one side of the street there, so the other
Okay.
one was open. So, yeah, it was really good. It was
But
a lot better.
we do not know how many thousands of dollars. How many things are on the list, James?
9, 10. This makes 10.
This is the 10th major purchase that FM Athletics has donated to the city maintenance department. Maybe you can read a few of them, maybe even all of them.
Yes, we have fences for the north side football field, dirt and grass seed for north side, box drag level for a tractor, overseeder for tractor, aerator, irrigation system for the north side football fields, move some trees for the north side football fields, line cutter for grass, laid out football fields at both north side and south regional park, and also bought hubs. And then this year, the donated self-propelled liner. So yeah, quite a...
And I know that liner really saves the maintenance guys a lot of, and it's much straighter, it's got a laser on it, and they can, the lines are great, and they can do them in 1/8 of the time.
On the value, I don't think has been mentioned yet, but it's $15,000
For just the
item,
one
so it's
item.
a significant donation.
So, and these guys, our long-range goal is to have these guys help us with lighting some fields on that complex so we can play later into the fall. And so that's one of our major projects in the city, is to do field lighting at the Southside Regional Park. And these guys have offered to become partners in that effort. Awesome. They have to finish paying off the liner first, but I think that would be, we would bring a lot more games to Moorhead if they could play during the week. Anything else you guys want to add?
I can't think of anything, Casey. No. It's a lot nicer being out of the southwest field. There's more room, a lot more
There's the administrative building out there with the indoor
Yeah,
bathrooms.
exactly.
There's a concession stand. So more than just having fields
Yeah, it's
gives you guys some
night and
room.
day. It's a lot better. The kids enjoy it more, and so do the parents and the officials, so it's a win-win.
Excellent.
Okay,
No, it's a great use of the facility, and we look forward to the relationship continuing.
Thank you, Chairman. First of all, thank you so much for your partnership with the City of Moorhead for so long. I know when my son played football, we were on the north side, and it was just a mess trying to find parking. So I'm sure that that has been very appreciated by many of the people attending, which are not just the parents, but it's the grandparents and the cousins and all the other younger siblings. As far as the long-range goal of the lighting and everything, is that something, Heidi, that would be possible to put on that wish book list, or?
yep, it already is.
It already is?
Yep, we've
Okay.
got it lined up, and we've been having conversations, but we want to finish their donations. And do you have any more thoughts on that, Otto? And
No, not right now. We're just muddling through this now to see where we're at,
Okay.
everything. So, yeah.
And the other thing is FM Athletics brings in people from a wider range. I mean, we are the premier game location for,
We bring them from anywhere from Detroit Lakes to Kindred, Barnesville, Lake Park, Holly,
Fargo, West
Audubon, Fargo,
Fargo.
Moorhead, West Fargo.
I'm wondering if it might
Kindred.
be possible to develop a flyer that's just specific to the long-range goals for FM athletics with the lighting and things like that, that maybe a flyer could be handed out at the games or along with the correspondence that you do with the individuals that are participating, to inform them of this opportunity for donations to even better the football experience and everything.
Yeah.
Yep, we're getting going on that one. Right now, we're finishing the flyers for the inclusive playground and so forth, but we're working our way down the list. Okay,
Is there anything else that the city could assist you with? We want you to stay in Moorhead.
Yeah, you can make out a schedule that the teams would be happy with. And the parents, but other than that, no. You do a great job.
Excellent. All right, well, thanks again for being here tonight, and
Thank you very much.
all right.
up next, we have the Fargo Moorhead Trail Builders. Tom and James are here.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I can set this up a little bit for you guys. The FM Trail Builders, we've been working with at least 5-6 years.
Oh, coming up 10?
Oh, well, see, there you go. Yeah, and I'm 50, yeah. And anyway, the years of working with them have been just awesome. They're a volunteer group that goes and clears the trails. They do it without a whole lot of mechanical equipment. These guys like to ride bikes, and we have the best trails in Fargo Moorhead for off-road biking. I'm going to let them give some background, but this last year, I guess because it's your 10th anniversary, we are formalizing an agreement that will come to City Council shortly so that they can appreciate their efforts also. But I'll let them fill in how many people and kind of what they've been, what they do for the City of Moorhead with no praise. They've never asked for anything, and it just really is a premier location, both at Gooseberry and at MB Johnson Park. So do you guys want to share some?
Sure, I can give you a quick history. My name is Tom Heilman. I was one of the original founders of Fargo Moorhead Trail Builders. And this kind of goes back to probably 2008, 2009. I had a real strong interest in off-road biking, and there was nothing in the area. You had to drive an hour, 2 hours to get to anything. And in a conversation with a few friends, we kind of identified potentially some areas to have trails. And we started just kind of exploring some of the parks, and then started at MB Johnson. And we kind of figured out, yeah, we could make something here. And we rode our bikes around a little bit, and this is pretty fun. We should probably get the city's permission. So met with Holly and Larry at the time, and they were completely on board. And ever since then, it's been a wonderful relationship. We established a formal 501c3, and we've been working with them for 10 years, improving the trails. expanding our network. We now have Gooseberry and a trail at Horn Park as well. And the use of the trails has grown dramatically. You know, when it first started, I'm not going to kid you, it was very self-serving, right? So there was a group of 5 of us, and that's what we wanted to do. Our volunteer group is probably close to 40 to 45 active volunteers that go out and build and maintain the trails, and the usage is well over 1,000. So if you get up to any of the parks, especially on a weekend or an evening, you're going to see a lot of people kind of out on bikes. And it used to be I'd know everybody, and now I know nobody. So it's just all new people that are out and experiencing it, and it's all on the bike primarily. So I want to say thank you to everybody in this room, and especially Parks and Rec for supporting that and being a part of it.
The one thing, a year like this year with that high wind that came in made it really difficult for the city crews, the forestry crews, because they, of course, are trying to get the streets, you know, so you can drive on it. But their trails have suffered when high winds come, then these really big logs are on it, and they have to wait for our forestry crews to come and clean those off. But they've always made do, and they've always been willing to just be patient with us until we can get out there to skid off some of that big stuff. I'm guessing that it still isn't cleaned up completely.
No, there's still some. We've gotten quite a bit of it. We've been able to get enough people out there and hand saws to saw through them. It takes some time that way, but we're working on it.
Yeah.
And this has been the most challenging year we've ever had, just in terms of the storm was one thing, but we had a flood. We've had consistent rains too, and if you ever get out on those trails, the undergrowth in a rainy year is amazing. I mean, weed management's probably our biggest piece of work, and we've raised enough funds to actually get a brush mower, which has helped us a ton this year, and they're allowing us to store it up at MB Johnson, and that cuts down our man hours dramatically because we can just get through, go on each side of the trail, clear the weeds off, come through with a leaf blower, and we're ready to go. But what used to take 10, 12 hours takes 2, so it helps a ton.
Wow. And there, I mean, all of this is gratis again. There's 2 organizations here tonight who don't ask us for much and really go about making a lot of, the value is just tremendous to the community. So I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. If you
Thanks
guys
for
ever
coming.
need anything, just let us know.
Yeah.
Hope to see you out there too.
Yeah.
The good news about having the agreement and them officially forming as an organization is, of course, the insurance, the injuries, and all of those things that will be set for quite some time. And it identifies which areas they're in so that we know just kind of where they're clearing and where they're not. So they've been great about being willing to expand. Hopefully, there's something called Bob Fogel Riparian Forest, another park area that has no road to it and we can't get there yet, but the opportunity along that river corridor is vast in regards to the potential of what this group can do for us. This isn't unlike other parts of Minnesota where volunteer groups, especially off-road bikers, have been willing to get together and go. You hear about them a lot at our conferences. So, but FM Trail Builders, they say, is one of their premier in Minnesota as far as the miles and the amount of work they get done. So, okay.
Awesome. We'll move on to item number 3, approval of the May 28th meeting minutes. Can I get a motion?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I will second that emotion.
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion? None. We'll move on to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Okay, do we have any citizens that wish to address the board? Seeing none. Any agenda amendments?
Yes, we do. Oh, to bring trail builders in.
Sure.
Yeah, that was an amendment, but that was under presentation, so we should be covered.
Okay, good deal. It's too late now if we decide
Yeah,
not to add it.
There you go.
So up next, we have Trevor, who's going to present an update on the Greater Moorhead Days. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, we're kind of getting to that time. Summer's kind of flown by, and, down at our office, fall sports have started, and kind of means Greater Moorhead Days is upon us. So What I'm going to kind of do for you guys here is just kind of go over our kind of calendar of events, kind of share with you guys all what's going to be going on in Moorhead kind of that week or two after Labor Day. So we'll actually kick things off next Thursday, September 5th, with the Bridge Bash that's hosted by the Moorhead Business Association, and also helping them out this year is the Downtown Community Partnership. And it's going to turn out to be a pretty fun event, it looks like, and that's going to happen on Main Avenue Bridge this year, which due kind of to that bridge being closed is a lot of the reason why they went over there instead of closing two bridges they've been on First Avenue in the past. Just kind of ease of traffic, then that way don't have to worry about too many delays or anything there. So they have 14 food trucks and 40 business vendors that are going to be out there that evening from 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock. And that event kind of started as an idea to help welcome back the area college students, but it is open to the public and anyone can go out and attend, and they kind of encouraged as much activity as they can to get out there. So kind of speaking with their organizers, they'll have some overflow parking at the Moorhead Center Mall in their parking garage, and then the MAP bus is also going to be kind of heavily involved helping get a lot of the college kids, especially from NDSU, down to the event as well. So but yeah, like I said, 14 food trucks, so they kind of encourage people to come hungry and enjoy a night. They're going to have Slamabama performing on our stage that'll get brought over, and our park staff's kind of tried to help them out with whatever they need. We recognize that's a pretty fun event for the community to kind of help kick off Greater Moorhead Days. On Friday the 6th will be our annual Greater Moorhead Days Parade. This year so far we have 53 floats signed up to date. We do kind of get a lot of last minute entries to come into there. So we do kind of expect from past numbers to see in that 80 to 90 range. So at this point you'll see our number will close to double. A few changes this year, kind of talking over with our committee, is we're going to try to do things on more of a first come first serve basis with our lineup. That's going to help ease our staff instead of kind of putting out communicating with our float entries and giving them a number and lining them up. You know, a lot of these people are coming with big trailers and things, kind of ease some of the parking that way as well. And we recognize a lot of our efforts kind of made possible for that event by our title sponsor, First International Bank. So with their sponsorship, it allows all the entries to actually get in for free. And we do award a cash prize for our top 3 place finishers based off our theme, which is this year is Life in the Valley. Kind of moving into that first weekend, we'll have a couple events on Saturday the 7th. In the morning, you can check out the Wings and Wheels Flying in Car Show down at the Moorhead Airport. And they're going to have a pancake breakfast with a variety of different aircraft, and they have some airplane rides, skydive jump at noon, and then also the classic car show. And they'll be out at our parade passing out flyers to kind of give some more information there. And then our park staff's again kind of helping them with their pancake feed a little bit, providing some tables and things. So
I believe that pancake feed is free too, isn't it?
yes.
So,
Also on Saturday then is the Flatlander FM Rotary Ride. So this is going to be the 7th year they're hosting this cycling celebration, and they have kind of a variety of routes along, throughout Moorhead and kind of even into the surrounding towns, depending on how long you're wanting to cycle. They got registration beginning in the morning at 7:30. There's actually a bike rodeo for youth that'll be going on at our Gooseberry Park at 10 a.m. And this is something that the organizers of the Rotary Ride shared with me, is that they're kind of really trying to push some of those things, some of those more kid-friendly activities, rather than kind of just going on these bike rides. So they'll have a kind of a route just from Lindenwood Park in Gooseberry, where on both sides, the Moorhead Police on our side and then the Fargo Police, they'll be kind of doing some different activities to try to just promote families to get out a little more and hopefully enjoy the weather and the event they got going on there. Moving into the kind of the second week, on Tuesday, September 10th, we'll have a really busy day, which will be a lot of fun. Starting off, we'll have our Midco Kids Fest from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock at the Blue STEM Center for the Arts, and that's a real family fun activity, you know, for the families and vendors that were able to kind of get out to our River Arts events here this last summer. Kids Fest is that times, you know, 3 or 4. You know, it's really expanded, and the space out there allows us to do a lot more. And Midco, with their involvement, that event does go a long ways, and we can do a lot of fun things out there. Midco helps sponsor kind of a free meal for everyone. They work with the Midday Central Lions clubs on providing kind of a hot dog meal for all of our guests just through a free voucher. And then also our local Kiwanis Club provides an ice cream treat as well. So that's all made possible by Midco and their sponsorship in this event. But we'll have inflatable games, kite flying, our carriage rides. So a lot of fun activities going on. And we also get a lot of local businesses and vendors involved, whether it's them doing a kid-friendly activity themselves, or if they're trying to promote their business and sell some things. Kind of following that event, kind of new to the calendar this year, and a lot of kind of based off the initiatives that the city is working on, is our Moorhead Identity Party. So that'll kind of follow directly after Kids Fest from 7 to 9, also at Blue STEM. And a lot of that is to just kind of help recognize the branding initiatives that the city has worked on. And really, it's just kind of a celebration of the community spirit. It fit in perfectly with what Greater Moorhead Days is meant to be and what it's all about. A lot of it is the mayor will be speaking on, you know, the business recruitment and the attraction of residents that the city's really trying to work on and push through this last year. And some of the things we got going on for that, in addition with the mayor and council kind of being involved there, they'll be featuring their film about Moorhead, Where the Strong Belong. And this film is what's going to help market the city of Moorhead to help, you know, attract these businesses and future residents here to the city. We do have Tripwire performing, and they'll actually start during that Kids Fest time, which was a lot of the reason why we chose that day. With Kids Fest having that built-in audience already, we can use some of those support dollars there and some of the things logistic things that we already have set up. Instead of doing 2 separate events, we have a built-in audience. Let's build off of that event and try to make it even kind of bigger and better. And we got a couple food trucks then coming out during that same time. Right now we have Suna's Egyptian Eatery and Twisted Spork, both signed up and ready to participate there. We have one other food truck who has expressed interest, but still just trying to wait confirmation on there. So trying to give people an option there. Another exciting part of that event is through our kind of survey results, trying to kind of figure out what people really connect with the city of Moorhead. A lot of popular responses was how much people enjoyed Junkyard and how much that's really become a part of our community now. And we were able to secure them to come out to our event to serve during that 7 to 9 frame after our Kids Fest. Just as they are a big part of our community, we wanted to recognize them and have them a part of that as well. That is kind of a permit pending right now through the state of Minnesota, and we're hoping to get confirmation on that coming through here. Also Tuesday, just to kind of piggyback off of some of our events, if you guys might have even noticed downstairs, our Moorhead Farmers Market will still be going on Tuesday during Greater Moorhead Days as well. Wednesday the 11th, we'll have our 9/11 commemoration, and as I kind of mentioned earlier with the Main Avenue Bridge closed, we had to find a new location for that this year, and they will actually be out in Memorial Park. They're going to set up right in front of that log cabin out there. Just gives them plenty of space to bring in the vehicles, the people that help them out, and it gives people a chance, a little more viewership. Rather than being on a bridge, people can park to come see that event and whatnot. So Couple more here on Thursday, the 12th. Prairie Property Management is helping us out. They're going to be hosting a park carnival at the trails at Stonewall Park. So one of the newer parks that Moorhead has to offer, and with them having a property right nearby there, it's something they want to do for their residents, but it is open for the public. They're going to have a magician, a lot of yard games. Pico food truck's going to be out at their event, and then some relay races and a lot of other just fun things that are going to be going on that night from 5:30 o'clock to 7 o'clock. And again, that's at the trails at Stonemill Park. And lastly, on Saturday the 14th, we'll have the Red River Run, which will start and finish at the Moorhead Center Mall. The Lake Agassiz Pacers had come to us a few months ago wanting to bring this event more into the fall. It's actually the 45th annual Red River Run that they've helped organize, and they wanted to kind of be a part of the celebration. It's part of a race, their LAP race series, and it's going to be a good activity for people to just kind of get out and enjoy, kind of get active around the Red River on the trails down there. Starting the Monday the 9th, we'll also have our popular medallion hunt. We will be hiding 3 medallions again throughout the parks, so we'll make sure to people look out for those clues that'll be released Monday morning on the 9th. We did get Hornbachers again as our kind of gold medallion sponsor. MSUM has also sponsored that one, and a few other businesses for our third prize have kind of put together some miscellaneous items for a prize package. So we're kind of grateful for all involved, our sponsors, all the people running events. It takes a lot off our plate when other people are interested in helping us out and trying to make this now 10-day celebration of Moorhead one that everyone can look forward to. So.
Excellent.
I have one question.
Yeah.
For the Red River Run, do you know, is it just exclusively in Moorhead where the run is, or is it going into Fargo, or do you know what the route is?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the whole route, but from what was shared is it will go into Fargo and Moorhead. So yeah, it'll start and finish at the mall, but it'll follow kind of the trails right around the Red River into both communities.
Well, this looks like, a great lineup of events, and Trevor, appreciate your work on this and presenting today, and we'll look forward to a great 9 days. So, thank you. Okay, next we have Julie here to present on the Silos to Circles program.
Just to start this out, this is something that Julie came to me with, something that her work with various organizations in town, so Eventide Senior Living Communities came to Julie. I will let her set it up. It went to City Council already, just so you know, to approve the grant and the work with it, but really important to share with you guys what's happening and how carrying through with that programming. So I'll let Julie kind of take it from there.
Hi. I was really excited. Eventide came to me a couple months ago and asked if I would be interested in being a host site for a closed circuit TV with the Silos and Circles. They've got a grant through the Leading Age Minnesota Foundation, and what it would do is connect the rural communities in with us into the cities. So I was like, well, it sounds fun, but what's the work involved? With the grant, they gave us really beautiful equipment to use, closed circuit TVs. They also asked if I'd be the administrator of the website and pretty much do a lot of the programming. And so I jumped on it. I thought it was a great thing to do. I already do programming for the Moorhead seniors and some Fargo, so I was really excited. So on August 13th, we had a launch party. Eric Bergeson was our speaker, but he was a speaker in Ulen. So all of us, and if the counties are Moorhead, Rolog, Ulen, Hitterdal, Eventide has one, and Hawley. So we all were in our respective little rooms and watching Eric speak, and it was just a great turnout. We did have them fill out a report when they were done, and we had just great response on that, and they have a whole bunch of things that they want offered. So I was talking to Shelley also earlier about this too. Some of the things that we are doing is, Are You Ready? It's a new way of aging, and it's monthly. It's 2 times, well, I think we're going to have 3 months of it. It's going to be about aging and the different things that happen as we age. We have our regular Clay County AARP chapter meetings that we'll be holding. We have a 911, what's your emergency, and I've got a folder on that, and that's on strokes, heart attacks, the new CPR. We also have a caregiver conference that we will be televising, and the popular one that I've been approached many times, and I got a call again today from Barnesville, is Bone Builders. It's an exercise program that we offer 2 times a week in the mornings. It's a great response. So Barnesville called today, and they're all ready with their weights and their ankle weights, and we'll get everything hooked up and get them going. So it's been a great response. We've got great leaders in all of the counties that will set up the equipment. So I will put on the website, which I think that you have that information. It's Clay County Age Well, and it'll have all of our events that are happening throughout the years, hopefully forever. We'll be doing this because it's just a great, great event, great thing.
The one thing, there's a link in your communication that will take you right to that website, and that'll continue to get broader as other programs are offered. But as you can see, we're not your normal senior center where we do offer cards and meals and so forth, but our senior center in Moorhead, under Julie's leadership, really strives to educate seniors. You know, the baby boomers workshops and so forth. It's getting people ready, free tax assistance over the years. And Julie has special programming like that all the time. That's more what she works on than your norm, what people think, oh, over there you're just playing bridge and pinochle and having a meal. That couldn't be farther from the truth. And this body has not heard on the senior center part of our programming in the past, so I really wanted to get it out there, just how progressive we are. Fargo's senior program has a different focus. They really have social workers and they do more meals. Kind of share the difference, Julie.
Well, yeah, they have like the social workers that go out and help the people, and they have the congregate meal, like they go out into the different counties too themselves. When I first started, I really thought it was important to keep the education part of it going with seniors and whatever we could do. So I work with a bunch of people from different agencies, and whatever they needed, or if they thought it was a need, they would put something together and then we would offer it. I know one of them was the caregiver conference, which was really important. And we started, and it was like we couldn't get the caregivers to show up because they didn't have anybody to watch their loved ones. So this year we're adding a thing where we're going to let them bring their loved ones, and then we have people that will do activities with them while we're doing the learning part of the caregiving. So that's something new we're going to try this year to see if then we can get more people to show up.
She has a very active program. AARP always has annual programs, but the Triad, maybe you want to talk a little bit about Triad.
Yep, Triad is senior and law enforcement working together. So we do offer, we're going to call it 911, what's your emergency? And we'll do that quarterly, but then we have one great big one-day event that we hold. And this one, we decided that we were going to do the medical part of it because there is the new CPR and the strokes, and a lot of these people are home alone. They live by themselves. So we really wanted to get that out. So we thought, let's add some flu shots. So we're going to have a flu shot clinic that day, a pharmacist speak.
And you typically have, what, 15 vendors, 20 vendors?
Yeah, about
Each
20.
time she has this with different people, you know, bringing in their wares to share. And the Yumcomps is a perfect venue because the senior center is already there, and we can expand.
Right.
So, you know, that works well for that. Unbeknownst, as part of Julie doing this workshop, I think besides your salary, what is your annual budget? $2,000, $3,000?
Yes.
So everything Julie does, she has to find sponsorship for, either through Minnesota AARP. The Yumcom Center, of course, is part of our offerings, but everything is sponsorship driven. A lot like Trevor's activities, we run on almost a zero budget. The one thing about this Eventide grant is a one-time payment to the city for Julie participating in this program for the grant, and not including the equipment, but just to participate. There's a $15,000 payment that we are going to use some of it to enhance our equipment.
Right.
A little bit, get some more carts and a little bit to make it easier to travel to different locations. But the equipment was separate, but that certainly should offset some additional resources for a brief time. That closed circuit cost will be the only cost going into the future that we will incur. Julie's time obviously has been covered with this grant, but, and what is that, $189 for the closed circuit?
I think it's $99 a month. After our grant is done, which will be in 2020, it's $99. So between the six of us, it's what, $16
Yeah.
a month. So, I mean, I'll pay for that out
That's
of my
the
pocket.
reoccurring cost, so
Yeah.
we think it's a great program, so.
Yeah, yep. It
If you
was a
have
nice.
questions, Julie can answer.
I was going to mention the equipment that is coming through the grant, that's something that the city gets to keep too.
We do, yeah.
So that was an added benefit. And in the other hat that I wear, working at the Minnesota Elder Justice Center, there's 10,000 people in the United States that turn 65 every day. So this is a growing population, and it's one that we really need to make sure that we have amenities that would keep people in our city. And I think that you do an amazing job at the senior center, making sure that you're up to date on different types of things that could be offered to that population. So great
Thank
job.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, I have a question, because the Bone Builders class is a great class, and it's evidence-based, correct?
It is, yes.
When I worked for Extension, we also used the Matter of Balance course, and I know that Extension has some interest in working, with the elder population and with their nutrition programs. So I don't know if you've connected with the folks at Extension more.
Right, and I know it's funny when they did this survey, just about everything that we have or are doing, they put down, and these are people from the rural community, and we really want to get them involved. I mean, it's transportation, all of that is really hard for these people to get into town. So, we can all do it together, we're interacting, we can speak with each other, but a lot of them was things like that, and they love Mark Peel, so they want Mark Peel to talk all the time, which the museum is going to do. They're going to be adding a bunch of programs. This is their county, Clay County, so they go out to these different sites anyway. So now they can just sit in a room and then, talk to everybody and save them time
So
too.
did you say Essentia had?
No, Extension.
Extension.
Oh,
University of
sorry.
Minnesota Extension.
Okay.
Yep, and
They-
cooking,
they-
they want cooking for the elderly, stuff like that, so.
They have their nutrition programs, the SNAP Ed, and also they have, like we used to teach Matter of Balance in Otter Tail County. There might be an interest to pick that up again,
Right,
which is another evidence-based program.
right. I was trained in that, but we didn't offer it. It was Dale Raleigh, and I think we took the class, but at time, we didn't have the money for the books and all of that, so.
Well, Julie, thank you so much for
thank
presenting.
you.
It sounds like you're doing extraordinary work,
Yeah.
and we just very much appreciate your time and what you do.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, we have an update on the Moorhead Community Fund, which has made some really good progress since the last time we met. Our wish book is out, and it's printed, it exists. People can, it turned out fantastic. We're all set up through the FM Area Foundation. There's just a lot of good movement on it. Holly, maybe you want to add?
No, I think, it's just to give this update that we're ready to start taking donations and are getting some.
Yeah, and we're out there meeting with the different service organizations and presenting it, and it's just, yeah, it's got some legs. We're moving.
So obviously, James is on our foundation board, and one of the foundation people is coming to help me present at each of the 6 different service clubs that we're going to, presenting information on the 6 major initiatives that both Park Board had as their #1 initiatives, which are in the wish book, including the lights at Southside Regional Park, along with some smaller ones, in case somebody doesn't have bigger money to do the larger initiatives. There are some smaller ticket items in there that would be just fine, some heritage markers and some banners, and now we're doing some military banners through downtown in honor of veterans who are currently serving, and that's on the foundation. The foundation also gave us a boost. We were the cover 2 pages of their newsletter through the FM Area Foundation this last quarter. And so as a new fund, they highlighted us, and that's that link that's in your communication if you want to look at what they put together. So it's just we're hoping to kind of give an update monthly, and we just want you to know we're alive and moving forward.
Absolutely. Let's see, next we have update on the scholarship program. Randy? Oh, did I?
Heritage Garden.
Oh, I skipped a few things. Yikes. Sorry. We're going to get to the Heritage Garden and Amphitheaters. Holly, if you want to just...
Well, this item I wanted to bring up because we would like to eventually get to a vote of support so that they could include, let's start back a little bit. The Heritage Garden and Amphitheater was originally put in as a defiant garden, and the word defiant garden really means taking older pieces. It's what they did in wartime when they left war-torn areas, and there was nothing beautiful about it, but there were tanks and whatever, and then they put flowers. They put flowers in these areas to just brighten it. That's the overall concept, not that we're a war-torn area, but they're put it up by the power plant site to honor the years and years of the power plant. And so it was a concept by Plains Art Museum, and at that time there was a professor at Concordia who was really interested in having their students work with this, and then Moorhead Public Service, with the ownership of the land and the power plant, doing something more with that stuff other than just putting it in the junkyard. And then the city of Moorhead, as we built a dike, the idea was is into the dike we would put a natural amphitheater over at Woodlawn Park. So that's the premise of Heritage Garden and Amphitheater. Since that time, at that time, I should say, a grant was written for programming. I had Trevor come and join me again because I can never recite the programming. Just for example, this year, Trevor, why don't you say what programming was out at the Heritage Garden?
Yeah, so we did a lot with the Plains Art Museum. And they work with other various groups throughout the area on some things, and they did in May they did a plant and seed exchange. They've also hosted a couple movie nights, 80s movie nights out the last first couple weeks in August out there. They did a kind of a music festival they had planned out there that they did unfortunately have to move indoors due to some weather. We were going to host one of our River Arts events out there that also kind of due to the rain we had and that big storm early July, we had to unfortunately cancel that planned date. But yeah, a few different activities that just to try to, I think, expose people to that area a bit more. And
I think they were able to move their music event, the international music and international food trucks. I think they moved it inside at one of the area churches, right?
yes.
So they did proceed with that programming. But the idea now is that the money for the programming has expired. And so the Plains Art Museum would like to write a grant to the Lake Region Art Council with the city as a co-writer, as the sponsoring it also. This is something the city's interested in doing because we would like to promote additional things out there. we put together a list. We're hoping as the park department to do 2 a year. And we're picking music events, whether it be reviving big bands or some jazz things out there, something that would lend itself to maybe a little smaller audience. We talked about going big, writing something big into the grant, and then we thought, you know, it really is a venue that lends itself more to you know, a little bit smaller type thing. Plains Art would continue their existing program. Plus, they also help maintain the garden with mowing and maintaining around all of the stuff. So they need a garden shed to keep their mower there. The people they get to do it are always hauling things back and forth. And so they would like to write a grant for into the next few years to continue programming. And they're asking for the Arts and Cultural Commission for the City of Moorhead support and the Park Department support. So really, we're asking you to, if it would be okay if they could officially include that in the grant, that we are supportive. One other thing I think they're thinking, there was one other really fun thing they were thinking of doing. I can't remember now, it slipped my mind. But anyway, that's what the idea is.
Did you want to say something? Oh, I have a question.
Okay.
So is the Minnesota State Arts Board, is that a part of the legacy fund through the state
You know,
of Minnesota?
they've missed the deadline on that one
Oh.
since I've written this, and so the next available is Lake Region.
Okay.
So the State Arts Board does have legacy money. There's a couple different areas you can write to.
Yeah,
Those tend to be a little bit bigger, where this is a little bit smaller.
yeah.
So they think Lake Region might be able to handle that. But it still might be legacy money coming into Lake Region.
Yeah, because the Holmes Historic Theater in Detroit Lakes.
Okay.
They get a whole bunch of people from, you know, the Twin Cities to come to perform.
And do outside theater.
And they,
That's what I was going to mention,
Oh,
is they
okay.
did an outside theater, one theater thing, or they were working with a partner to provide kind of a one-act outside theater thing.
yeah, because that particular program that the historic Holmes Theater accesses artists that get funding to perform in Greater Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be great to have that, the Heritage Garden be a potential site for performers coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And they're already funded through the Legacy Foundation or the Legacy Fund to do like they call it, what was it? Something du Nord, Music du Nord. And I've gone to the Historic Home Theater to see a few bands a few of my favorite bands that come out of Minneapolis that I would love. It would be great to have them at the Heritage Garden.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was.
Do the artist funds come with any additional money that can help, like, cover the costs of setting up the microphones?
Yeah, I
and
don't
all
know
that
any
kind
of those
stuff, Or is it
details.
just paying them to perform, or?
I don't know those details, but I mean, at least half of that is covered. At least a majority of you know, the performance cost is covered, I guess.
And actually with our
Artists are
stage,
paid.
and even though they have a stage down there, sometimes it's not big enough and it's not set up to boost the sound like it needs to or whatever. So we have brought our stage down. We were going to have Kenyon Williams.
Yeah, we would have, there was a percussion group out of MSUM that was gonna use our stage, as they did need more of a flat surface for a lot of their instruments they were gonna be using, so we were gonna bring our stage, connect to some electricity there, and so that does have space for that, and kind of going into some of the costs for the groups we've worked with, and if it could be different, but a lot of them provide their own. I mean, the cost is built in as far as the setup of the PA and things.
But I think the performer cost, if you can get the performer cost covered, that's huge.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want them to do it, I mean, they shouldn't be doing things always for free, everybody thinks they should, but, you know, paying performers like this, you know, we can get the rest of it figured out if we can. Just one of the bands we looked at was $3,500 a
Yeah.
time. So, I mean, that's the big cost in the event. Wasn't that right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
35 and.
Well, I'd like to entertain, so someone will have to move a motion to support involvement by the city of Moorhead to seek grant funding for the Heritage Garden and Amphitheater in Woodland Park.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I think we all approve.
I think we all kind of agreed on that one.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Excellent. Next, we'll move to item number 10. I think I'm in the right order this time. Recommendation on location for restroom at Village Green Golf Course. Holly, you want to give us kind of a update
Yeah.
and background on
This
that?
item has been before you guys in the past, and I know Abby had mentioned to make sure and come back with you with what the homeowners had looked at. One of the homeowners did send a communication back that they would like to see it at a different location on the course with the proximity to the sewer and water. And because right in that vicinity, that was the only homeowner that had commented. I did tell her that as we went through this process, we would look at other options and that we would come back. I did send her a communication a week or so ago that indicated that we would be discussing it tonight, and if she wanted to come and visit with you folks. But this item really is the location of 13 green, 14 tee box to bring in a more of a permanent facility into Village Green Golf Course on the city-owned land. There really isn't that much more to say. I had a mock-up of what it is. We hope to take this to City Council September 9th. It's one of the bigger items. It replaces a portable bathroom, but the portable bathroom is not at this location. It's on hole 11, close to the road, which is not central to the back nine. This will, I think it'll be a great thing for the golfers, and I'm hoping aesthetically it's pleasing enough so that once it's out there, it'll look like a simple garden shed, which a lot of the homeowners out there already have in their backyards. So staff's recommendation is to proceed with this location.
Are you planning to make it look more like these smaller pictures that you had,
Yes.
as opposed to the larger one with the awning and all that?
Yeah, we found that getting one built at that cost was probably, that awning we thought would be good in case we had outings to have kind of a drop-off spot, to sell food or set up a little concession, but we decided to just simply go with a restroom, which is what's needed 95% of the time. And the cost, it's more cost efficient to go with this. We were getting some bids, not even, bringing in the sewer and water is proving to be $50,000 to $60,000. So some of those buildings were looking to be $80,000 to $90,000 to have built. So then it was very cost prohibitive. And you could build a nice house almost for what this two-stall bathroom was gonna be. And so we backed off and went with a smaller.
I'm going to throw this out there, but what
Okay.
about a composting toilet, or
Uh-huh.
is that against city rules?
You know, we looked at one that had a vault, and people really felt like driving out into there with, you know, some kind, we looked to try one of those. We really want to try them. West Fargo uses some, and they try them like out in the outreaches of the soccer complexes and so forth, not as much right in the neighborhood. Although West Fargo says they do not smell. They smell when you pump them.
Yeah, like the campgrounds
Yeah.
in the state parks,
Yes.
they don't smell.
Yes, they're about the same cost, but this, and you can get water to wash your hands and whatever. We did look at them,
Yeah.
and then decided against them in this application, but not in the future, Abby. We
Okay.
really look to use them in some of our, as we grow in other areas because of the cost of bringing sewer and water in.
Right.
Yeah, but we have to have good access to get the truck in. Okay?
For the sake of our community, did we do our due diligence on exhausting all the locations, or other locations?
Yeah, we really met with, and yes, we really met with, we needed it central to the course. We needed to have enough land so that it could look like a garden shed if we just put it into a location. We really feel like this is central and it is a good location. And we did send the letters out.
In my understanding of the 8 letters you sent out, there was only 1 objection,
Okay.
so that's like
Yeah.
89%
Yeah.
approval, which is
Small sampling, but
pretty
they're
good.
the only ones that were affected,
Yeah.
so.
Let's see, I'd entertain the motion to support the recommendation on location for the restroom at Village Green Golf Course.
Make that motion.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item 11 on the agenda is update on various community initiatives. Holly?
This is a large piece that I've put in your packet, and it covers really what's in the wish book, and it covers the 6 or more major initiatives that we are trying to move forward on for Parks and Rec in the city of Moorhead. It's really, a lot of you are new on the park board, it's really those 6 major items that we would like to see built in our community. The foundation was put in to try and get community support and raise funds towards these, but the city truly understands that they're going to have a piece of this also to make a lot of this go. But I put them in order of what council has identified as the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And River Corridors is still, and it also was in a park study that we did in the city. We asked them what facilities would they like to see. And this study is an older study now, but I think the answers would be the same. And we didn't ask them about trails because it wasn't facilities, but 65% of the people in this community were really interested in parks and trails that would connect because it was lifelong. They could do it, they could push their kids when they're young, and they can use them when they're older. And so as we move away from the river corridor with our housing, it's a great opportunity. So in regards to funding, finishing some of these trails is a number 1 priority for the city council and for us. Lucky enough to get a number of legacy grants and transportation alternative grants. At the end of this summer, 2 segments will be complete. As I mentioned late, and it's the downtown trail and the Homestead Trail from the Public Works facility out on 11th, like 15th, the toll bridge kind of, which is no longer the toll bridge, but into the middle of the town. We replaced the pedestrian bridge at Oak Grove and then through the downtown area. Those trails were moved away from the river. A lot of people felt like, well, you didn't put them back, and we love to bike by the river, and that's because the river, when it floods, destroys them. This was an effort to keep them open longer, get them at a higher altitude so that we can clean them easier and we can get out there and use them year-round. The trails are almost, in those 2 segments, almost complete. We've purchased garbage cans and benches with some of the money, dog waste receptacles along the way, and the concrete pads. We're hoping to use the stamp art on those and to add some public art elements along those trails. So that work will be done on those. We wrote a grant for the Midtown Trail, which is really, there's a TAP grant coming for Gooseberry to Woodlawn, but there's a downtown segment from like Woodlawn Crystal Sugar area over to Gooseberry, and that's called Midtown, and that was denied funding, although the legacy grant funding group called Greater Minnesota Regional Parks and Trails Commission has identified that they really want to complete our trail segments. They had just given us money for MB Johnson, then they gave us money for the downtown trail, and then they gave us money for the Homestead Trail, and they felt like it needed to be somebody else's turn. So we are hopeful that in the future, that Midtown Trail can get funded, and then one that we're calling Harvest Trail, which is out by Blue Stem. The one from Gooseberry to from Gooseberry to Blue Stem. We call it the Blue Goose Trail. That one is funded with transportation alternative money. That'll start next summer, we hope. But they take a long time from when you get the money, and maybe 3 years later, all the environmental permits are secured and everything is ready to go to construct. And so I think the grant that we're working on now, we got in 2016, so it's about 3 years from being awarded until you can finish it. So the river corridor is really, and then we have a number of initiatives with other groups, the Audubon Group, this whole list that you see, putting bike repair stations along the way, that's been a Rotary project. River Keepers has done some reforesting the red along there. Audubon Dakota has looking at pollinator gardens even now into the city possibly. Some of our triangle areas, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. We've got some where we're on the river and we get this dead piece of land. We're looking at pollinator gardens and some of those things for there. Christy Leszewski and the engineering team, park maintenance, and the recreation side have all worked hard to get a lot of partners. Trail builders are a huge partner with us to open up these trails, and they have done mapping so that the community that we have on our website. So a number of those things. The Community and Aquatic Center is more of a really large ticket item that the city manager is working on more with MSUM and other community partners. I can say they really hope to replace, the pool is a 1958 pool, so we look for swimmable water. We look for maybe even combining the senior center or daycare center and get a real community center for the city of Moorhead. Not just gyms here and there, but really kind of pulling something together. That is a very large ticket item, and so that is going to be a longer item. Inclusive playground, we're finishing some of the materials on that now. We have a Moorhead mock-up that we are going to allow the kids who use it to come together and really pick the equipment. But we are starting our fundraising efforts, and we're, again, working with some of our community groups to see if they're interested in taking a piece of it and fundraising to get some matching monies into the inclusive playground. Next, I'm going to skip to Matson because that's the same spot we're at with Matson. We need about $500,000, getting those community groups together to look at what might be possible for fundraising, writing some grants. I've started a grant to raise money for that. And so the planning is done and the materials are ready to do the fundraising. It's just a matter of starting our visits with people. On the dog park, that's true also. We really have, we kind of, the dog park is something that we think we can get done in the next year, actually, if we can settle on a location. I think we came to you already with a location suggestion of River Oaks Park. We did a community outreach. I went to a neighborhood meeting and spoke, and then we also did a community outreach letter within 360 feet from the dog park and radius. We did not find support from the folks at River Oaks Point to put it at the location right in the front of that park. If you guys, it might be worth a drive out to that area. If you know where that is, it's all along River Shore Drive. It's a park that used to have a lot of homes in it, and in 1998 it really flooded badly, and a lot of the homes moved out of that area. Moving it further, I included the letter in your packet that we sent to the homeowners. I also included the comments we received back in your letter, which a majority of the folks that we sent letters to were not excited about that location. That park is deeper than it looks. City Council, we brought it to City Council and had an alternate location of Riverfront Park. If you know where that is, it's right up from the Yumkumst in the downtown area. We suggested that park because we were taking that Aztecs building down. I call it the Aztecs. It's an old neighborhood rec center that that was heaved and really was in disrepair for many, many years in that tennis court. There was as much as a 6-inch difference in the concrete that was up there. And so that came down this year, and we thought, well, maybe to promote downtown, a lot of the downtown apartments might want to come. And a lot of people coming to dog parks were probably driving anyway, unless they lived in that neighborhood. And so that was our alternate location. To do the due diligence, we looked at Southside Regional Park. That is where we want to put that inclusive playground, and that has a master plan that didn't have a dog park in, so we feel like we'd have to go back to the neighbors with that. So we really had 3 suggestions, as you can see from that communication. The River Oaks Point, that doesn't have anything in it. It has the North Dam, and a lot of people do fishing up there. A new property out south where they're going to put the new water tower. It's called the Krebs property, just that's what we call it. And it would be a new development, but we don't know if it would spur development or not. At least it would be there before homeowners, looked at it. Some people, me as one, I see a dog park as a wonderful amenity for our citizens. And then Riverfront Park was the 3rd location. Looking at a bunch of the other ones, we were not, they either didn't have water, they didn't have trees, they didn't have parking, they didn't have access in. There was a checklist of a number of items that we looked for to keep the cost down. And so the 3 that we mentioned, with the Krebs property being by far the most expensive because it didn't have any of the amenities, we'd have to put it all in. Out in the Stone Mill area, that was the same. We'd have to put in the parking, put in the access, put in water, put in the trees, which made the cost go up significantly. City Council at that point felt like we should look at what the options might be deeper into the park, further away from those homes. And so we did that, and we sent out a survey. The survey for the dog park closes on the 3rd of September. And so that gives everybody an opportunity to respond, where would your best location be? This is a dog park that we hope to not be a lot like our one on the north side. We want it to have the water and the trees and the agility items. We feel like there's a lot of dog owners in town who would donate once we figured this out. I will say we did a fundraising effort at our doggy swim. The last day our pools are open, our deeper wading pools, we have dog swim. And I think this year we raised $500 and some dollars. That goes to it, and we ask them to fill out surveys at that point too. And the one thing that I noticed, having been out there during that time, is at any one point there was 25 to 50 dogs in this smaller fenced area, and it was quiet. I would not have expected that. They were a little jumpy getting into the area, but once they got in, they played. And so, there's a lot of the dog park is a passionate thing right now in the community, and I understand that. We're just trying to find a location. A lot of dog owners have called, and they want it south of Interstate 94. So that has been the challenge for the city council. So that's just out there. I don't know, we'll wait till the survey happens, and then we'll probably bring something back to city council the last week in September, is what we're hoping. So how you can have your voice heard is make sure you fill out the survey if you're passionate one way or the other. The field lights for Southside Regional Park, we already talked about that. And then arts and culture, there's 2 major initiatives coming from money that was donated. There was a $25,000 anonymous donation into the Moorhead Community Fund Foundation to fund community art projects. The money is not used with these 2 projects, but there'll be a new art mural on ACE. The downtown Moorhead ACE. They've been so willing to work with us. They're our temporary location when the bridge is closed for our farmers market. It's turned out wonderful. She's been willing to put this mural on the building over there, so just a good kudos to Mandy over at the Ace Hardware for being such a good community member for embracing our projects.
Isn't the 56560 on their building right
The
now?
front, this will be
front.
on the west side,
Oh, okay,
you know, kind of where their front door is, so it'll be on that
Oh.
corner.
okay,
And I think there's a picture in your thing, but you wouldn't know
No.
that that's on the corner,
okay.
looking at that picture.
Of Florence Klingensmith?
Yeah, and and the other thing is a storm drain project that works with kids to design and develop it. It isn't just putting the art onto the drains, but it is also working with kids to design the art. So those are the two projects. So a lot of materials included in your packet on this. Are there questions? I should have mentioned too that the inclusive playground, this is the Moorhead design that has in your packet of what we're looking at. And as I mentioned, we will assemble, once we know what a general one costs, and the equipment itself is like $500,000. That doesn't include the rubberized surface and so forth. So just, once we get the money secured, then we will gather the kids together to figure out which pieces of apparatus they like. We also are working with a local Dakota Fence with Playground Landscaping, I believe is the company, that does a lot of these, and they know kind of the top 10 that kids have liked. So we haven't picked, what's on here will not be necessarily the pieces of equipment. We will look for experts to help us with that. Any questions?
When it came with the dog park, you're still looking at possibly doing it at River Oaks down there and pushing it further back. Is that going to be prone to flooding then?
If you push it all the way to the river, absolutely. We've picked out on both sides of the road a small dark and a large dark dog park area that we picked on the survey. There's a map that'll show you, and that isn't as prone. Closest to the road is the least prone, but it still gets flooding at like 36, but you know, pushing it in some is 34, 35, but going way down, we would lose our dog park on nuisance floods.
So the picture of the River Oaks Park, the houses and the people that were surveyed were across the street on the road?
Yep.
So
Yep,
there's a whole road between
Yep.
the people's houses and the park,
yep,
the dog park?
and kind of a bank of trees there.
Yeah.
And the road's elevation is actually pretty high
Yeah.
compared to the houses, so there's kind of almost a barrier with the road.
Like a natural,
Yeah.
because some of the comments, I mean, what do you do with those comments that,
Well, we hope that, you know, maybe, you know, picking this middle ground might
taking the middle ground and moving it?
a little bit further into the park. So, or, you know, we just make a decision and see, you know, what the survey says. I can tell you that 364 surveys were filled out about a week ago. And we'll get statistical analysis of that.
I can maybe respond a little bit. I know that one of the things that we talked about at the council meeting when Holly brought this to us was perhaps planting more trees too, to increase the barrier. I think I'm trying to recall what some of the comments were because I haven't reread them again. But I know some of them were concerned about the noise, some of them concerned about some of the traffic. I went down there, I've gone down there a couple times, and there are a ton of individuals using like a running path or a bike path, that there's a ton of people on that already. And additionally, a lot of people use that as a dog park anyway, but now it would be enclosed. And I think the concern was the noise, so we thought that perhaps working with those constituents, creating a little bit more of a barrier visually, but also that would help create an audio barrier too, that might alleviate some of those concerns. Although I keep hearing over and over again that when a bunch of dogs are together, they're actually not loud. So that's.
Yeah, but dogs bark when they are like alone and lonely. Oh.
And a lot of the discussion and why we directed Holly to kind of go back and expand the survey area of constituents was the cost, but then also all of the ideal, or what's the word I'm looking for? The things that are most ideal to have in a dog park, which would be that close proximity to that water, the trees already there. You wouldn't have to do as much with that. And the one that's in downtown would probably be a really good location too, but the request has continually been for a south side dog park, not for one in downtown.
Fargo has a dog park down by the river that gets flooded. And do we know what they experience, or that didn't prevent them from that location? What sort of damage have they experienced?
It gets to be a muddy mess.
Yeah, okay.
And I think that one looks just like our north one anyways.
Yeah.
It's just a chain link
Okay.
fence with nothing in it. If
Yeah.
they got all the amenities that the south side one's being proposed to have, that would just float away.
Well, and I think that, I remember, Holly, that you had mentioned that some of the amenities with the agility ramps and things like that could be damaged if it was down and under water for a long period of time. It's much more ideal to not have to deal with the cleanup and to have it be maintained for a much longer period of time too.
In your packet, there's a 36-foot flood level, and you'll see where we had proposed it to begin with in that red circle. The second proposal is just back that little bit on both sides of that road, if you guys want to look at your packet. So the second, but going way down to the river really is, even at 30 feet is, not advisable.
Be nice to use it, but yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
a lot of wasted space.
And that's a park that isn't very well used, so,
It's really a beautiful area that
yeah.
should be.
Yeah. But I know the neighbors are just, they just have a real pristine area back there. It's lovely in that area. And so, it's been vacant for quite some time.
Okay. Randy, looks like you're actually up this time.
All right, well, I'm used to giving this report usually in November, so this is new. Good news and bad news. The good news is we've reached our funding for scholarship program. It's the first time we've done that in the 4.5 years we've had our scholarship program, so that's the good news. The bad news is we just started fall and winter, so now we don't have funding for fall programs. We actually ended up, we have a $15,000 budget, and we went $38 over budget a little bit. So we've had to turn some people away. We do have winter options for 2020. Funding is available for that. So we are offering as much as we can. Items like skating lessons or gymnastics are options that we offer for fall and winter. So if we can move them into the January session, they're usually pretty much okay with that. Other than that, aquatic seems to be our big spender. Season pool passes, which count for the family and not for each individual child. And swimming lessons were kind of our big hitters. People like to swim and they enjoy that option in the summer especially. And then baseball kind of saw a bigger kick this year. Just with more interest in that for scholarship approvals. So we'll move on and forward. You can kind of see that we met our goal. There were less scholarships and less pool passes awarded, however. That just kind of has to do with prices going up for programming and passes, and just with more people actually kind of taking notice and applying for scholarships. We were able to meet that goal. So it is an option through the community fund that we're hoping to maybe get a little more additional funding for. This $15,000 is what the city gives us. So if we get more funding, yeah, I mean, we can definitely open it up. So, but yeah, really excited about that we finally met our goal this year. So looking forward to next year as well.
Randy, maybe you want to tell them how many per family, the guidelines a little bit.
For each child, it's for Moorhead residents. If you are eligible, it's 3 scholarships for the year. And within that year, there's 2 seasons, a fall and winter and a spring and summer. So they're eligible for at least 2 for one of those seasons. So if they get 2 in the first season, they're eligible for 1 more in the next season. So, and it kind of helps having fall and winter go 2019 and 2020, so we can kind of get in an additional program, but it's through different funding, so, yeah. And then that pool pass, that counts separate for the whole family, so.
Would,
Go ahead.
okay, would we have a means to participate in Giving Hearts Day or something along those lines to direct funds specifically to support additional scholarship funding?
You know, Giving Hearts Day is something that I work with on the Police Activity League, who has a very active summer youth program also. Great way to provide funding, great way to do things. I think it might be something that we need to talk about in our foundation group in regards to the training and so forth. I think our police activity program, I think we might have gotten 900 to 1,000 towards that this year with definitely an option. It doesn't come without a lot of work. Yeah. If you've ever participated in that one, yeah, but it still helps, yeah.
I have a question. When I used to work at Family Healthcare Center, I was the dietitian. I'd see a lot of children or teens. And I always asked the kids what they did with their days, and a lot of times they were sitting at home after school doing nothing. And so I would refer them to this scholarship program, and I would refer their parents so that kids have some activity, which really is good for their health. And so I don't know if you've reached out to like the healthcare facilities or the pediatricians that work with children who.
I give a couple speeches a year. I went to like the Globe University for the alternative groups, like over in Moorhead. Mainly, it's a Moorhead scholarship only because it's Moorhead dollars.
Yeah.
So I went over to Globe and I've done some work with some of our new Americans, especially with swimming. We really, you know, that is an item that's foreign to them, and now they're in a community where there's lakes all over and there's pools all over, and that's a big part of what kids do in Moorhead, Minnesota. So that's something that we really, Melissa's been working with a special program to try and see what's there for scholarships. There's another scholarship program, Randy, through the county also that, and then each of the things, we don't scholarship programs that are not ours, so like soccer may have a scholarship, or baseball, you can scholarship, or hockey into those programs also. But as far as outreach, we feel like maybe some of the stuff that I'm doing with going to some of those groups is, I would guess, why we filled this year.
Why you had so many.
Part of the problem is too, is we used to shut it off waiting for those fall programs. And Randy and I talked, and because we ended up with $500 left or whatever, we just said, let's just go until it's gone and then see what people think and see how much pushback we get if we run out, and we've run out. So now we'll have to see if we should have saved more. It was a crapshoot. So, right? I mean, we don't know if we made a good decision or a bad decision, but we're out of money. And either through Giving Hearts or whatever, I think, you know, we need to get the youth scholarship monies. You know, and that's, the reason it's Moorhead only, that comes out of tax-supported money. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah, no, I was
Okay.
in Moorhead when I worked at Family Healthcare
Okay.
Center in Moorhead.
Oh, in
when
Moorhead,
they had
okay.
a clinic there.
Okay.
But they've since closed the clinic.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did, we do a lot of work with the family health care over in the Fargo side. So,
Thank you,
Good job.
Randy. What's that?
No, I was just, it's a good job, I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great that all the funds are being used. I mean, that's good news, so. Let's see, the last item before we adjourn is some updates on things going on in the community.
I just wanted to, I know we're running a little bit later today, but I just really wanted to mention that we have a downtown community plan. And I really hope each of you take the time to kind of participate in that downtown plan. I think it's kind of Moorhead's turn, if I could say that. And I think you're going to see big changes in the downtown area, and how that shapes is really important for community input. So it's at the MCOM Center. They'll be doing some focus groups. So I'm guessing that this group, as a park board, will be brought into some of those meetings. And so we'll look forward to, Randy and I will be sending out different information on that. The other piece that's in here that I think is really significant is twice a year we include our evaluations and our wrap-up of our summer programs. And there are some things in here that I know it's a long read, but it's an important read, because there's things like the swimming program. Essentia Health had donated to us a number of life jackets for some of our swimmers at the pool. And so this is not a new thing to decide what part of the pool folks can swim in. We always gave them a swimming test. You have to swim across without stopping the pool, and then you can be in the deep end. If you can't make that, you got to stay to this side. Well, this year, life jackets were provided for those who wanted them if they didn't pass that swimming test. And at first people thought, well, other kids, do they have to wear them? And it got to where people would run for the life jackets. It was really, they would take swimming lessons, but they weren't quite there yet. It just gave that level of security to parents and others. And, it is kind of scary for our young lifeguards. It gets to be where, some areas didn't open because they couldn't get lifeguards. And if it's your child out there with those people's lives, you want to do the safety first is always Melissa, who runs the pool, and my answer. If they don't like their jacket, well, safety first is the answer when it comes to water and swimming and not knowing how. So in there is some information, and a big thank you out to Essentia for that, but it also is an evaluation of each of our programs and kind of how many people participated, what the costs were, and what people were saying. So, and our summer park program, working with Extension and, it's park program festivals, gives you a lot more in-depth insight on what happens in our programs that we don't always share here. Just like the senior center, they're starting to add information in on the programs. It gives you a better sense. My guess is people don't know what the senior center did. I know Shelley did because she works in that part of the world, but, the programs that we have for seniors are great, and so they're in there. Not a great summer for canoe and kayak, not a great summer for golf. It's been bad. We've had to cancel more special events than we cared to, but if you guys have any questions, otherwise that is all I have.
I think last year we had a really long golf season, right?
Yes.
I think we just had it too good last year.
We've had November 15th. And maybe we'll get November 15th, but we sure didn't have May or June or most of August. It's been sopping wet.
Yeah, we have not had much luck weather-wise this year.
No. So.
Well, unless there's anything else, we will adjourn. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.